cool message today. Remember those people that were trying to, I guess, stop some kind of logging from taking place in that island I visited and they used my drone shots? It says here, we presented to the Metro Parks Board today and the response was great, especially to the videos. I included your extended set of views from the Mount Gardner Peak. The board members were visibly impressed and may well help us in one or more ways to preserve the forest on Bowen Island. That's fantastic, I thought. A great example too in terms of just people like myself. I fly for fun, I capture the scenery, and in this way it actually helped people. That's great. I'm probably like public enemy number one for the company, I guess. I wanted to do the logging. How dare those recreational drone flyers capture the scenery and all people with it. I guess that kind of shows too in terms of awareness. I guess more people just need to see stuff like that. And I guess people need to focus more on getting stuff like that out there. Because there's one thing I guess for the hobbyists and stuff to appreciate it, but it's about getting, I guess, the regular people, the people who don't see it every day, get them to see it, get them to appreciate it, open up their perspective about the tech and all that too. Whoa, getting really windy. Actually, that kind of relates for one thing I saw to that made me wonder, what is this? But I guess the first thing was, you guys actually mentioned this too. It says DJI introduces version 2.0 edition of the Phantom 4 Pro. So it's not a Phantom Pro 5, for example. It's basically a revision. From the sounds of it, briefly, it almost sounds like a Mavic Pro Platinum, but this is the Phantom Pro's version of it. That's what it seems like anyways. I was actually surprised DJI didn't release anything like a video or anything like that to kind of show it off. All I read was the press release initially, so I was kind of waiting to see, is there something more to this? But for the press release, it says DJI introduces version 2.0 edition of the Phantom 4 Pro. With DJI occusync transmission, 60% propeller noise reduction, and simultaneous wireless connectivity for an enriched FPV experience. So based on the specs and the comparison charts that they use, it seems like for the most part with things like the camera, it's mostly the same with things like the sensor size and all. It's a little bit lighter and it has things like the occusync, and again, it says it's supposed to be about 60% noise reduction. It makes you wonder, who is this targeting? I would assume it's targeting people who've held off on a Phantom 4 Pro, and maybe this is a way to get them to buy it. Like, it's quieter now, this is the revision, let's get it. At the same time, I know there's a lot of people saying the upgrade isn't really worth it to buy a brand new drone. I know a lot of people felt that way with the Mavic Pro Platinum. I even thought myself with that, it's more about, if you didn't buy it already and you were thinking of, then why not? You might as well get the newest revision. It's kind of interesting to hear though. Some people were saying this was a sign that there's not enough competition. Like, they're basically holding off things like the Phantom 5 just in case a competition releases something, then they'll release it. Whereas this one, they're just updating revisions. Kind of reminds me of another thing I read where for them as a company, they probably have like a gazillion types of prototypes and everything like that. So this, they can basically just release it, and when something does come out, for example, that they think is going to be, I guess, a threat to their market share, then they can release it. I guess it's an example of why competition and more variety is good as well, right? For myself, there's still the portability factor. I can't envision myself carrying stuff like that every single day. I can see if it's for a specific purpose. If I'm going to a place, I know exactly what I want to shoot, then you want the highest quality, then you get something like this. But so far, it just needs to be more portable for a person like myself anyways. Because just like my previous example, imagine if I had a better camera and even a better drone, I'm pretty sure I can do even more great stuff with it. Would anyone who doesn't have a Phantom 4 Pro or is thinking of getting a Phantom line get it because of this? I know for me, if I was, I would still be inclined to wait for a Phantom 5 or something like that. And in terms of drones, just saying the positive side, like a person like myself, how I've used it to help people indirectly, even though I'm just doing it for fun. Of course, there's always the other side of the talk, and here, peeping drones could be spying on you in your own home. I was like, what is this? Is this one of those like fear-mongering type of articles? So I decided to check it out. Apparently it was on something called a Today. Is it a Today show in the US? It says, whether it's for police to catch suspects, emergency responders to save victims, or journalists to capture video, drones can be a boon. But one place you don't want to see them is outside your bedroom window spying on you. Unfortunately, it's all too easy for them to do just that. To demonstrate, today National Investigative Correspondent Jeff Rossen simulated ordinary activities both downstairs and upstairs in a typical house. A drone was able to monitor him on both floors while hovering out of sight, even when he was in the bathtub. Even worse, drone operators can be out of sight as well. Now, it does say National Investigative Correspondent. I'm not really sure how reputable he is in terms of tech and stuff like that, so maybe people in the US would know. Maybe it's just me, but just seeing the first demo of how the drone could go right into the window and spy on you, how people figured out ways to do that, you could argue you can't see it, maybe, but to be that close, like how they're showing it, and they're actually using a Phantom, funny enough, that thing is pretty loud. Who can't hear this thing right up to the window, for example?
Let's fly our drone up. They are actually using them to go into neighborhoods and spy inside people's homes, even going right up into the windows and looking at your most private moments.
Cue the dramatic music.
In Seattle, a woman snapping a photo of this drone. She says it was spying on her outside her apartment window.
It was pretty scary, and then I realized that I had no clothes on.
Look at the detail you can see from the window. Is it just me, or you see almost nothing? Like, if he was actually sitting in the couch, just from what I see with all the glare and everything like that, you can't really see in detail.
Outside, our drone approaches the house. All right, they just told me our drone is right outside this window. I guess if I do this, I can see our drone right there. Hi. Yeah, I have to really be looking for you to see you, but look at the detail that you can get through my window from being up and away from the window.
This is one of the worst, quote, spying person I can think of. If you guys really wanted to spy on someone, like basically be paranoid, wouldn't you be more worried about, like, say, the neighbor, for example, holding some kind of camera and zooming into you? Like, how would you know there? In that case, there's actually no sound. Whereas this case, it's kind of hard to believe he didn't hear anything. I was thinking it could be an intimate moment in the bathroom, he's saying. Just with the angle, it almost seems like if you're walking by on the sidewalk, you'll probably see it as well. I'd be inclined to say put some blinders or something on there, man. No one wants to see you doing your, quote, business.
Sitting in the tub, this could be a pretty intimate moment. And the drone, even all the way up here on the second story, is watching.
But still, again, how do you not hear that? You know how close that drone has to go there? And with the angle, again, I don't think there's any way you're not going to see it as well. Then they talked about this segment, how, well, look at with drone person, he could be hiding, you can't see him. And I was thinking there's so many ways probably that people could catch that person standing somewhere with this big huge remote, like in that example. Or the ironic thing was, it's saying the law hasn't caught up yet, for example. Like, obviously there's still things you can do, just like everything else. But it's just kind of funny seeing on the drone there's a marking, like on this one specifically. I'm guessing that's the registration number in the US. But just think of another example, someone hiding in their car with a telephoto lens. How would you know? Your neighbor, for example, same thing with a regular camera. How would you know?
Scarier drone operators can hide out of sight. This is our NBC drone operator. Down the street right now. No way for me to see him or catch him. And experts warn the law hasn't caught up.
Like, I don't doubt there's probably idiots using drones and stuff in a bad way, but come on, like, to sensationalize it in this over-exaggerated way, you can say that about anything. I mean, be fair, in my opinion, if you're trying to report the dangers of something like that. Okay, most drones aren't as noisy as that lawnmower, but you're telling me you can't hear something like that that's right in your backyard, for example? Come on. And again, with the law, basically he asked the guy a question saying, for example, well, isn't this stuff illegal? And the guy's like, yeah, it is illegal, whether it be with a telescope or a drone, which is my point. It doesn't matter what you use. There's already laws, in my opinion, to my understanding, that punish people for that. So it's not exclusive, for example, to a drone or anything like that.
Tell me this is illegal. I mean, it has to be.
So spying is definitely illegal, whether you're a peeping Tom using a telescope or a drone.
I like how in the end, even his colleagues like, you can just close those blinds though, right?
You could just close those blinds though, right? Just bye.
Yeah.
And they even mentioned the noise.
Yeah.
By the way, I need to get out of here before these guys wake up.
Yeah, exactly. With all that drone noise.
Wondering why the pond had no ducks and stuff. I guess that explains it. It's because of those motorboats. I was gonna say it smells like weed, and that explains it. I'm all for having a conversation and everything like that, because there are going to be people who use things like drone tech in a bad way, but using it in a fear-mongering, over-exaggerated way, I just don't see how that helps. It's going to make people paranoid, where even if people fly it safe and you're so far away, they're going to be, I saw this on the news. Kind of reminds me of that study before where it said something about the drone noise is not even so much the noise itself, it's the psychology of it, because you'll associate the noise with, quote, spying. Alright, see you guys later.